Welcome to Stephen AI TV, America at War, Iran under attack. This is your AI Weekly Digest. We're going to start with that chilling assessment because honestly, what we're seeing right now, it isn't some slow, gradual change. No, this is a violent, sudden break. This is exactly how the world fractures. So, where did this all kick off? Well, the flashpoint for this entire global crisis began in just about the most horrifying place you can imagine, a school. I mean, the scene at the Shahjareh Tayyeba Girls Elementary School in Manab, it was just a scene of absolute unimaginable horror. You have to picture it, a place of learning, of laughter, completely transformed into a ruin. It's just a brutal, stark reminder of the very real human cost of this war. And this is the cost. At least 175 people were killed, and the vast, vast majority of them, schoolgirls, just kids. It's a catastrophic loss of life, and it absolutely demands an explanation. So the big question is, how did this happen? Well, the evidence trail seems to be pointing in one clear direction, a joint U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign. Investigators are poring over satellite imagery right now, and it looks like multiple precise strikes hit the facility. And on top of that, there's new footage surfacing that appears to show a Tomahawk missile, a signature weapon of the U.S. arsenal, striking right near the school. And yet, despite all of this mounting evidence, the official line from the White House took a turn that is, frankly, just shocking. President Donald Trump came out and publicly blamed Iran for the destruction of its own children. It created this just unbelievable conflict between the data we're seeing on the ground and the story coming from the very top. You have to understand, the massacre at Minaba wasn't the end of the story. No, it was just the beginning. That initial attack, it acted like a trigger, setting off this rapidly escalating military response from Iran. The fire is spreading, and it's spreading fast. And the sheer scale of this, just financially, it's absolutely staggering. Get this, in the first 48 hours of this quote-unquote surprise campaign, the United States burned through $5.6 billion, and that's just on weaponry alone. And Iran's retaliation? It was swift and it was multi-pronged. First, missile sirens started screaming across Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Then, in the days right after, drones struck a residential building in Bahrain and a petrochemical plant over in the UAE. But then, they went for a global nerve center. Dubai Airport was hit not once, but twice, causing absolute chaos for global travel. So this theater of fire, it's not staying contained in the Middle East anymore. Not by a long shot. The ripple effects are already spreading, and now they're threatening to put a literal chokehold on the entire global economy. And really, it all boils down to one single, incredibly critical waterway. We're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. You can think of it as the planet's single most important oil artery. Pretty much everything hinges on that waterway staying open for business. I mean, just look at this number, 20%. Let that sink in. A full 1/5 of the entire world's oil supply has to pass through that one narrow channel. It just goes to show you how massively dependent we all are on this single choke point. And this is the threat that has sent absolute shockwaves ripping through global markets. Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps, the IRGC, they've issued a direct, unambiguous ultimatum. If these attacks keep happening, they will not allow a single liter of oil to ship through the Strait of Hormuz. Period. The reaction from the market was, as you can probably guess, immediate and absolutely brutal. The price of Brent crude oil, that's the big international benchmark, it started soaring, heading straight for $120 a barrel. This war is officially being priced into the global economy. And look, that price, that's not some abstract number on a trader's screen. No, it's being paid right now by regular people, by consumers in allied nations. The costs of this fire is coming directly into homes in places like the UK and Ireland. Let's just look at the direct impact here. In just 1 week, home heating oil prices in Ireland shot up by 27.3%. To put that in perspective, that's 8 times the average increase across the rest of the EU. And it gets even more extreme when you look at Northern Ireland. They are heavily, heavily dependent on oil for heating. We're talking almost 68% of all households. So for them, prices just skyrocketed by an incredible 81% right when the conflict began. So how are world leaders responding to this? Well, there's a pretty clear split. Over in the UK, you have Chancellor Rachel Reeves pointing the finger at suppliers, accusing them of price gouging, while pretty much dismissing any calls for financial relief. And then you have President Trump, who is calling the pain at the pump a necessary sacrifice, stating really bluntly, if they rise, they rise. But maybe the most significant contagion of all has breached the walls of the White House itself. It's revealing some really deep fractures right inside the Trump administration. Think about this. Vice President J.D. Vance literally built his entire political brand on a platform of no new wars. And yet, after the first strikes hit Iran, nothing. He was completely silent for a full 72 hours. And in a place like Washington, a silence that loud, that's a political statement. It's fueling all kinds of intense speculation that there is a major split at the top. Now, Vance is trying to reframe the whole conflict as just a limited strike, but you can tell his political capital is fading and fast. We're already seeing major GOP donors start to shift their focus and, more importantly, their funding over to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, kind of anointing him as the party's preferred successor for 2028. Which brings us to one final, really crucial question. This entire conflict is being written by two things: high-tech precision strikes and our insatiable global thirst for oil. As these two massive forces collide, we really have to ask ourselves, what is the true cost of fire? And that's the latest from Stephen AI FM, America at War, Iran Under Attack.